But school is the place where so much starts. And you know, the only sex education of any sort that I got at school was on the last day when the headmaster called us in. It was a kind of schooling, but he said the usual things about being well behaved and enjoying university, if that's what we were lucky enough to be doing, and so on and so on and so on. And then he said, and one word of warning, you are probably going to meet in your life a certain sort of woman. Be careful. Now that was my sex education. I'm still waiting to meet the woman. Perhaps she's been there and I didn't notice her. But I wonder quite what teaching is like in schools in the area that we're concerned about. I had a message from a friend of the father of a boy, that's how far removed it was, who's at one of our senior public schools and who is as openly gay as he dare be at 15 at a boarding school, and is regularly ill-treated by his peers, and the school is doing nothing about it. And it was felt that if I would send some message of support, how could I do that? Or at least perhaps contact the headmaster who was aware that there was a problem. Well, if in that sort of independent school, with probably rather liberal parents on hand to advise the teachers, things are not going well, one would despair of other institutions. And it baffles me really as to why simply the Minister of Education or whoever feels that is responsible doesn't make it absolutely clear on every possible opportunity that there is a need to educate people, not only about sex and safe sex, that would go for everybody, but about the different sorts of sexuality that the human race has in its midst. And if you don't know about it, you're not going to know about yourself, gay or not, because you won't know how to react to it when you go out into the real world. Well, now those kids are in the real world. They're watching Coronation Street, they're seeing gay affairs, they're listening to the House on the Archers. It's in the papers. They can't see George Michael and Elton John or Scissor Sisters without knowing that there's something gay there. Won't they want to talk about it? Won't they want to explore it and have it explained and argue about it? And unless it is dealt with in that way, on a regular basis, as easily as the teachers would discuss any other matter of social concern, you're going to get what is happening. The use of the word gay in the playground and the street as a word of abuse. So that Chris Moyles can happily say to his 6.75 million listeners, most of them about to go to school today, on radio, BBC, to use the word gay as to mean rubbish. This clock's not working, it's gay. Defended by the governors of the BBC, I may say, as current usage. Well, it may be, and it's an interesting problem. What do we do? Do we have to find a new word for ourselves? I suggested at Gay Pride in Trafalgar Square this year that we should find another word beginning with G rather than gay. We could call ourselves gorgeous. As in, that's a gorgeous frock, or you're looking gorgeous. But we may have to change our language, but at the same time we have to change attitudes. And until we do, we mustn't be surprised if children react to something that they don't understand, and they find strange, and mock it because they don't understand. So the work that you're doing is absolutely crucial, and it's a pity there's a need for it, because it should be happening anyway, and as it isn't, History Month has my entire support, and I feel rather guilty I've not been more involved than I have, and I think other people who've happily worked for other gay organisations perhaps now have the time and the energy, and particularly people in my business, could easily make a big effect if they were involved in the month and in schools. I'm just reading a book of the history of Europe written by Norman Davis, and he quotes Baudelaire, who comes up with a whole string of objectionable remarks about the Roman occupation and the Romans and the terrible things they do. They mix their wines, and they dance to dreadful music, and they use young boys as their pillows in bed. So way, way, way back, the original Mrs. Thatcher was throwing abuse at gay people in exactly the same way that Chris Moyles is when he refers to the clock that doesn't work as being gay. I didn't want to end on a somber note, but it's a somber business. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that is happening. And it is increasingly going to happen. That unless we take advantage of the fact that now the law supports it, we have to persuade society that the politicians meant to change the world. And it's up to individuals